You know that in English, whenever you learn grammar, teachers are always telling you what the rules are, and then eventually we say, there's an exception. So this presentation is about, well, it's not all about the exceptions, but this one is one of the exceptions that we need to think about for adjective clauses. So if we take a look at the sentence that's on the board here, we've got the students who were well organized passed the exam. So if we apply our rules of reduction here, we're going to identify the relative pronoun. Okay. We can determine that it's the subject in this clause. So we reduce it, and then we look at the next verb. Okay, it's the be verb. Okay, easy enough. I reduce it, and now I know I was told to leave the rest. What does the sentence look like now? We've got the students well organized passed the exam. Well, that sounds kind of funny. So what to do? We've got this piece right here, well organized, and it's the only word that's left in the clause. So the rule for this one is it moves to in front of the noun position. So now what we have is a sentence that reads, the well-organized students passed the exam. Okay? So when you're looking at a sentence that has an adjective clause, once you've identified it and you've gone through your rules of reduction, if you only have one word left in the clause, move it to in front of the noun position. I always used to tell students, if you're looking at the clause and you reduce all the members of the team and there's one team member remaining, this poor little word is going to be very sad all by itself in the clause. So if you move it so that it moves together with the other word that it needs to be with, then it'll be a happy adjective. These kinds of adjective clauses are a little bit different in that rather than modifying just one noun in the sentence, they actually modify the entire previous clause, the independent clause. So this adjective clause, which really upset me, modifies this whole idea of he arrived late to the exam. So it's not just modifying this one word like the ones that we had before. Let's go back. So who were well organized, this adjective clause modifies this idea of students. Okay, but here, which really upset me, this modifies this entire idea of he arrived late to the exam. Let's look at the one below. It was a really cold day, which meant we couldn't go swimming. Okay, this part, which meant we couldn't go swimming, okay, it modifies it was a really cold day. Okay? So all of this adjective clause modifies all of this independent clause. Okay, it's not modifying only this word day. Okay? So these are adjective clauses. Well, I guess adjective clauses. They're often seen in textbooks that say that modify a sentence. Even though, strictly speaking, it was a really cold day in this sentence as an independent clause. But we know that independent clauses can function as sentences. So then, can we reduce these? Yeah, you can. It's not I don't know if it's the best style choice, but the rules apply here as well. So we take out the relative pronoun. Here we're going to take, we're going to ignore really, we're going to keep it in there, and then we'll go straight to the verb here, and this changes to upsetting. So our sentence now reads, he arrived late to the exam, really upsetting me. Okay. We want to keep this word really in here because it functions as an intensifier. Okay. And an intensifier gives more meaning as an adverb to how upset I was. Okay. I wasn't just a little bit upset, I was really upset. Okay. Down at number 2, do the same thing. Okay, we reduce the relative pronoun. It functions as the subject in the sentence. We look to the next verb. Okay, and we're changing this to ing. So it was a really cold day, meaning we couldn't go swimming. Okay, and those are perfectly acceptable ways to reduce adjective clauses that modify a sentence. All right, so on this last board, we're just going to look at a couple of errors. Okay, so when we have adjective clauses like this one, where I had my exam, or he lost the book that I lent him, sometimes what happens is you forget that first step of identifying what the function of the relative pronoun is. Okay. In both of these cases, the relative pronoun is functioning as an object. Okay. So one thing to look out for is if you've got a real subject in here. I don't know. This is just a Rebecca term. I always call these sort of a real subject, and that's in contrast to a sentence like. The students who were late missed the exam. Okay, so if I look at this one, who are late, this is a relative pronoun functioning as a subject. This is a relative pronoun functioning as an object. Okay. And if it's functioning as an object, we cannot reduce them. Okay, so you can't say, he lost the book that I lending him. This is wrong. Okay, that is the class I having my exam. This is also wrong. Okay, we can only reduce when the relative pronoun is functioning as the subject inside that clause. Okay, so if you see words like I, you, we, they, that the class left, where the company went, right? Any kinds of subjects that are like those, you cannot reduce those ones. All right, so now just some time to practice.